The pandemic has been hostile to many parts of the UK economy. One of the sectors that has been most hard hit is the events sector, and of course manufacturers depend on events in order to meet each other, check out their products and generally make connections. Now, an awful lot of events have managed to go online and become virtual, but there is one that simply cannot go online because it's big enough and has been big enough in recent years to have its own postcode. It is, of course, MACH. And we heard the news this week that after having been postponed from earlier this year to January next, it has now been postponed again to April 2022. I'm delighted to be joined by James Selka, who's Chief Executive of MTA, which of course owns and manages MACH. James, welcome to you.
Thank you very much, Nick.
Now, obviously, these are very troubled times, but what prompted you to take that very difficult decision to postpone the event once more?
Well, Nick, in the end, it was absolutely simple because we ran a survey amongst our exhibitors, many of whom are our members who owners, and we're a not-for-profit organisation representing the industry. And the overwhelming feedback was that we should go straight to 2022, considering the most difficult circumstances, and of course, considering the 30,000 plus people who work and visit MACH for vital business to be done.
I imagine that the government's actions over the last few days must have contributed very heavily to this, because up until a couple of weeks ago we all thought we were getting on quite well, but now what's known as the second wave appears to be coming towards us. That must have been the trigger for you.
Absolutely, Nick, and the sign of any manufacturing organisation who is worth its salt is agility. And as an organisation that represents many manufacturers, we thought it was right to do the same and respond to the rapidly changing and deteriorating circumstances.
So what's the message to the exhibitors and members? I mean, they've been feeding back to you, obviously, but what message would you like to give to the wider manufacturing community, who obviously rely on MACH every 2 years to be absolutely the prime showcase of technology in the manufacturing sector?
I've only got three simple messages, both for our exhibitors and indeed for those who are planning to visit MACH 2021. And that is a huge heartfelt thanks for the continued support, without which we would find it difficult to continue. And we have really received overwhelming support. And since the industry is going through what might be termed as turbulent market conditions, it is particularly appreciated. The second thing, of course, is how much we're looking forward to MACH 22, because between us all, I think we can make it an enormous success, perhaps even more successful than 2018 under buoyant conditions, because as the national show, there is this pent-up demand underneath with the COVID restrictions that I think could make it an absolutely cracking occasion. And the third, and possibly the most important thing to our members, is to remind everybody that we are here to help during difficult times. We exist to help our members. And we have been working very hard in the background, feeding into government on C-bills and helping the way get easier for access to funding and so forth, writing to the Chancellor in support of schemes that keep skills in the industry. But we are here to help, so please ring us or get in touch, because that is absolutely what we're here for as a trade association.
You touched on something there which I thought was really quite interesting, and something which a lot of people have been observing, which is that the terrible impact of this pandemic on the population as a whole and on our sector has meant that manufacturers have those indeed who have that agility you spoke of earlier, they've really had to up their game, and innovation has been accelerated, as we saw in the Ventilator Challenge UK. Innovation has been accelerated, ideas are pouring forth. We could be entering a rapidly accelerating, rather nice phase to get into in our sector.
Very much so. And in fact, often it takes an emergency such as the one we're going through at the moment to really provide that impetus to make companies realize the enormous opportunities there are surrounding improved productivity. In other words, competitiveness. Actually, I know that we're all fairly bored of the word productivity, but the step changes that are possible, demonstrated by the Ventilator Challenge when we really want to get going, shows that the world is our oyster. And in fact, despite everything, the wind is still slightly at our backs in the fact that the technology allows for onshoring. You know, to be the definition of lean in my book is the ability to make as closely as you can to demand viably. And we are living in such a great world. And the other thing that the UK is world famous for and continues to be so is its innovative nature. And I think now the message is firmly getting across that not only are we innovative, but we can actually take it all the way through to production. If you take great companies such as McLaren, and if we can just encourage the long tail of the supply chain to not be frightened to adopt this incredible technology, much of which is available at very affordable cost, often using a renting type model, I think we've got a very bright future. I think we've got some tough months ahead, but after that, I think that the future looks very bright.
Well, James, thank you very much indeed for being with us, and all the very best of luck to yourself, to your members, and of course to MACH 22, which we look forward to enormously. Many thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much, Nick.
This has been a special report from Zanut TV. Thank you for being with us. See you again soon.